All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to explore something pretty mind-blowing. How ancient religious texts and occult grimoires categorize the forces of the supernatural into highly rigid, almost corporate hierarchies. Because, when we think of the underworld, we usually picture absolute chaos, right? Fire, brimstone, just mindless malice. But if we actually dig into the source materials, and we're talking everything from foundational Islamic scriptures to European Renaissance magic texts, we see something completely different. We see a staggering level of organization. Literally, we're looking at specific departments, reporting lines, regional managers, and incredibly detailed job descriptions. It's less like a chaotic abyss and much, much more like a massive, terrifying bureaucracy.
So here is the org chart we're going to track today. We'll start with Section 1, the origin of Iblis, move into 2, jinn, demons, and shayateen, check out 3, the throne on the water, dive into 4, the 72 demonic legions, and wrap up with 5, magic pacts and protection.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the origin of Iblis and the cosmic rebellion, because to understand the hierarchy of the underworld, you absolutely have to look at its CEO. Now, you're probably familiar with this story, but look at the specific wording here. This quote brilliantly illustrates the theological origin of Iblis's rebellion, establishing his pride and his unique elemental nature. According to the Quranic account, when the first human, Adam, was created, a divine command was given to all celestial beings to bow down. Everyone complied, except one. Iblis flat out refused. And his reasoning? Elemental superiority. Fire, in his view, was fundamentally superior to mud or clay. It's this massive declaration of cosmic pride that sets the entire narrative in motion. But hold on, because this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Notice the stark contrast here. Iblis wasn't a fallen angel. He was a completely different entity made of smokeless fire. See, in Islamic theology, angels are created from pure light. They are perfectly obedient by nature. They literally don't have the capacity to rebel. Iblis, however, belonged to an entirely different class of beings, the jinn. And because the jinn have free will, exactly like humans do, they can actually choose to obey or disobey. Iblis's choice to disobey got him expelled, but he asked for, and got, a respite until the day of judgment, just to prove that humanity was easily corrupted. Which brings us to Section 2, jinn, demons, and shayateen, categorizing the unseen. After his expulsion, Iblis wasn't alone. He basically had an entire species of free-willed beings to recruit from. So the crucial takeaway here is that jinn is really just a broad umbrella term. It simply means that which is hidden from our eyes. Fun linguistic fact, the Arabic word for a fetus, janeen, shares the exact same root because it's concealed in the womb. The jinn are concealed from our normal vision. And remember, because they have free will, they aren't all evil. They can be good, they can be totally neutral, or they can be malevolent. They have their own societies, religions, the whole shebang. But the ancient Arabic scholars didn't just throw them all into one bucket. Check out this taxonomy. It's highly structured, based entirely on behavior and strength. According to classical linguists, if you're talking about them generally, sure, they're jinn. If they happen to share your house, they're an amr. But when a jinn turns wicked and formally joins Iblis's ranks, they get a title change. They become a shaitan, or a devil. If they are exceptionally rebellious, they're classified as a marid. And at the absolute apex of power and danger, you have the ifrit. It is a highly precise ranking system for the supernatural. All right, moving to Section 3, the throne on the water. With the workforce categorized, Iblis needed a base of operations. A CEO needs a headquarters, right? According to Islamic tradition, Iblis acts incredibly like a regional manager from his watery throne, sending out units and rewarding whoever causes the most destructive societal divisions. This hadith paints such a fascinating picture. It describes Iblis setting his throne over the sea and dispatching his brigades every single day. And when they come back, they give progress reports. Seriously, one demon might say, "Hey, I made someone steal," and Iblis is basically like, "Meh, whatever." But when one reports, "I didn't leave a man until I separated him from his wife," Iblis brings that demon close and gives him huge praise. It's a calculated, strategic approach targeting the foundational level of society, the family. And we see this exact same obsession with structure cross-cultural lines. Western esoteric texts like Agrippa's take this geographic corporate structure even further. They map out 4 supreme princes of spirits governing the 4 corners of the world and their elements. Look at this. You've got potent kings like Amamime down in the south governing the air, and Payment in the west running the water division. These aren't just solitary, chaotic monsters. They are elemental executives managing vast spiritual territories.
That brings us to Section 4, the 72 demonic legions, or as I like to call it, the departments of the underworld. Because from those 4 high-level executives, the power trickles down into a bureaucratic nightmare.
Who knew the underworld had an HR and legal team? Theologians actually distributed evil spirits into 9 specialized departments, specifically to counter the 9 orders of angels. Just as angels have seraphim and cherubim, occultists like Francis Barrett theorized that the demonic realm had 9 opposing departments. You've got the spirits of lies handling deception, the accusers, like Astaroth, acting almost as supernatural prosecutors, and the Furies governing war. Everyone has a highly specific job to do.
Now you're going to see this number, 72, pop up a lot. It is the ultimate thematic anchor across these esoteric texts. It represents the 72 quinaries of heaven, the 72 names of God, the 72 groups of jinn warded off in Arabic magic, and yes, the specific number of demonic legions commanded by high-ranking devils. It's a number that signals completion and order. Whether you're reading European texts like the Lesser Key of Solomon or Arabic manuals like the Shams al-Marif, 72 is the definitive structural unit of this hierarchy.
This is probably my favorite part, because it brilliantly illustrates how bizarrely specific these grimoires get. These demons aren't just roaming around causing havoc, they are specialized tutors and bureaucrats. Just look at these job descriptions. Agarez rides a crocodile and teaches foreign languages. Marbaz looks like a mighty lion, but is basically a vocational school teacher for mechanical arts. Stolas, a night raven, teaches astronomy. It's absolutely wild. The texts portray them as hoarding highly specific, academic, and practical knowledge.
And the visuals are just off the charts. They portray entities like Asmodee as these multi-headed monstrosities who, ironically, spend their time teaching humans geometry. Picture this. You summon a terrifying, fire-breathing entity with the heads of a bull, a man, and a ram, sitting on an infernal dragon. And what do you do once he shows up? You ask him for a math lesson. It really highlights how these ancient writers viewed the procurement of forbidden knowledge as the ultimate goal of interacting with demons. Oh, and let's put Asmodee's 72 legions into perspective, because the texts are obsessed with precise tabulation. They mathematically specified that a single legion equals exactly 6,666 spirits. If you do the math on that, just for Asmodee alone, that is nearly 500,000 specific spirits under his direct command. The sheer scale, paired with this extreme accounting, conveys a sense of overwhelming yet perfectly regimented power.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Magic, Pacts, and Protection. Because, let's face it, a bureaucracy is entirely useless unless someone is filing the paperwork. We have to look at how humans supposedly interacted with this vast network.
In Islamic jurisprudence, interacting with this hierarchy is defined as sihr, or sorcery, and it is strictly forbidden. It is a transactional pact where the human literally trades their faith for the obedience of a devil. So the crucial point here is that there is no free lunch. Texts analyzing spiritual healing, or ruqya, explain that a sorcerer must commit an act of defiance against God, like a sacrifice to an entity or insulting scripture, just to get the demons to comply. It is a dark, transactional economy, and the currency is the human soul.
Conversely, Western and Arabic occultists documented exact procedures to page these deputy devils. They treated them almost like personal assistants bound to a specific passcode. Look at this ritual from Daniel Defoe's A System of Magic. It reads like a highly specific set of instructions to bypass the demonic receptionist. The belief was that Iblis, or the high princes, were way too busy, so you were assigned a specific deputy. You walk around a tree, say the name 3 times, and bam, your demonic administrative assistant is there to take your orders. It's like dialing an extension.
So what does this all mean? It leaves us with a fascinating question. Did we discover a corporate hierarchy in the spiritual realm? Or did we just invent one so we could feel like we had some control over the darkness? Think about it. When faced with the terrifying, chaotic forces of disease, war, and the unseen, maybe humanity found comfort in the idea that these things had names, ranks, and rules. Because if evil has a boss, an office, and a summoning code, it means it can be negotiated with. It means it can be understood. And that, perhaps, is the most profound takeaway from all of this. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.